A very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome to this programming in C class. And this class we will discuss something about strings in C. So without wasting any time, let's begin on this video session. The outline of this class is as per this slide. We will first try to discuss some prerequisite for this lab. Then, as per the topic suggests, we need to study about strings, then the declaration of the strings, then initialization, how we initialize a string. Then we will see what are the various ways in which we can read this string from the terminal, and finally how these values get converted into the ASCII values. The character or the string converts into a ASCII type of values. So in the previous classes, you might have learned about loops and arrays. So these two concepts will play a major role in understanding this character array or strings, right? What we say. So if you have not done, you can pause this video and go back to your loop and array sessions and just revise what you have learned. And then you can come back to this videos. So I believe that most of you might be very clear with the concept of loops and arrays. So let's begin directly with strings. A string is a sequence of characters that is treated as a single data item, right? I will always consider this string that is a sequence of multiple characters. Okay, and in C, if you write something, if in C you write A within a single quote, and it is a character. Now, if I write A within double quotes, this A is now treated as a string. So character strings are often used to build meaningful and readable programs. Now these character strings are used to build something very much informative or useful. Some common operations performed on character strings include reading and writing strings, combining strings together, copying one string to another string, comparing two strings for their equality, and extracting a portion of a string. That means first thing is very clear that you want to read a string or you want to write a string on the terminal. Second thing is I want to combine two strings together, like concatenate two things, add one string after another string. The third thing is copying one string to another. Suppose I have one string with some value and I want to copy this complete value to a secondary empty string. So how can I do that? This you can do with the help of a character string. Now you can also perform a comparison between two strings for their equality. That means whether these two strings are equal or not. In computer language, we call them as palindrome. So you can check whether a string that you give is a palindrome or not. Like if I write M-A-A-M, this is ma'am, and if I read it from both the side, it sounds the same, spells the same. So these two strings, the string is equal. This is one thing. So another thing is if I enter two strings and I know I want to check whether these two strings are equal or not, I can do this comparison. Third thing is I want to read just some part of the string, not the complete string. I want to read the first 10 characters of this string or first 3 characters of this string. So you can do this with the help of a character string operation. There are many operations that you can perform. Next thing is we should know how to declare these character strings. C does not support string data type. So as you might have learned in your previous classes that C supports some primitive data types like int, char, float and many others. But C does not support any inbuilt string data type. However, it represents string as a character of array. So in C we can represent a string with the help of a character array. Like you have studied in your class, previous classes like integer array. Now we can represent something of that sort but with the help of characters. So in C, a string variable is any valid C variable name and is always declared as an array of characters. So you can give any valid C variable name. So there are some limitations, there are some like prohibitions on what type of name you can give. So naming conventions are there. So any valid name you can choose, and it can be a name of the characters array, right? So general form of declaring a string variable is shown here, and it is like the first thing is char. This represents that this string of this array is of type character, and the second thing is the string name. So you can give any name to this particular string array, right? And within angular brackets you mention something called size, right? So we will see what this size means, and finally you will terminate this with the help of a semicolon. So in order to declare a particular character array, you will write char, which is representing the character type, the name of the string, and the size of the string. I hope till this point everything is clear. The size determines the number of characters in the string name. Okay. Now on the last slide we see that there is something called size. This size is a representation of how many characters are there in this string name. This string, whatever string I am going to write, what is the maximum number of characters I can enter, right? For example, there's a string called city, and the size of the string is 10, right? On other hand, there is a string character array with the name name, and the size of that array is 30. That means this city can have a value which is 10 characters long, right? And the second name array has, you can enter a value which is 30 characters long. However, when a compiler assigns a character string to a character array, right, it automatically adds a null character, that is \0. This is a special character which is added at the end of the string. So every string you enter in your system will have this null character, and it is the last character of that particular array character of array, right? So what does this mean? This means that the total size of a string is a maximum characters plus 1. So if I say this is the size is 10, that means I can enter 9 characters plus 1 null value, null character. If I say this is 30 character long, which internally means I have 29 characters of name plus 1 null character. Okay. So what is the significance? Why we use a null character? The issue is, we have studied in our previous slide that the string is not an inherent data type, right? So in order to find where the string ends, what is the last element of this, the system introduced a mechanism which is called a null character. Whenever the system sees this null character, it identifies that the string has ended. Okay, like numeric arrays, right? Whatever arrays you have studied till date, one of the array will be numeric array. Character arrays may be initialized when they are declared. So whenever you declare an array, you can go and initialize them as well. C permits a character array to be initialized in either of the following two forms, right? The first form is character, city, and 9. This is the declarative part. So I am declaring something. I am saying that character is the city is an character array with the type with the size 9. Okay, and the value that is there in this city type of character array is New York. So this is one way I can declare, and the second way is I can mention each and every character separately. But the difference here is when you write as one string in double quotes, you don't have to mention the null character because the system will automatically generate this null character. However, when you write in special like in individual characters, then you have to mention the last position as a null character. So it should be noted that when we initialize a character array by listing its elements, okay, by listing its elements means writing each and every character, we must supply explicitly the null terminator. It is mandatory. So if you don't provide this, the system will never able to know, it will never able to understand that what is the last end or what is the end of this string. Now C also permit us to initialize a character array without specifying the number of elements. So this you know that yes, we can initialize an array even without specifying the size of that array, but in that case you need to mention individually. So for example, I said I have a character array with the name str, and in angular bracket I do not have any size, but the number of elements that is there initialized like GOOD and a null character. The total number of elements is 5. So the size, the compiler will allocate the size as 5. We can also declare the size much larger than the string size in the initializer. We can do that. Ideally, you should not be doing it because you are wasting some of the memory. But in many cases, in many places, you do not know what will be the size of the input given by the user. So you try to take a sufficient amount of memory which will never run out of, will never give you an error. So suppose I take, uh, I want to store good, right? But I take str6, that means I take 6 characters, but I have only 5. I require only 5. So in that case, in this case, the computer creates a character array of size 6 because you initialized it with the value called 6. Now, what you do is, what the system will do next? The system will place the value good in it, right? It will do this because you mentioned that the value is good. Now, it will next terminate it with a null character, right? It will terminate this with a null character. And then this thing is over, but you still have some space left. So the system will place all the character empty cells with the value null. Okay, so when the system start to read this string GOOD and find the first null character, it will understand that the string good has ended on the level 4. Now, till this point, I hope you are able to understand how we declare a string and how we initialize a string. Both the things can be done simultaneously at one place. Now the most challenging thing is to read the string from a terminal, and we have many ways to do that, right? We will see each way separately here. The most familiar input function, scanf, that you have studied, I hope from day one in this lab, can be used with a percentage specifier, a format specifier, %s, to read a string of characters, right? I hope you understand, you remember that we have multiple format specifiers, like we use %d for integer, %c for character, %f for a float, and likewise we can use %s for reading a string of characters. The example shown here says that address is a character array with a size 10, and when I apply scanf, I write %s and I pass the value of the character array as address. Here there is a question arises, like in normal scanf, whenever you use in your previous classes, you have write here as ampersand, but in this case you are not writing this ampersand. So this is a question for you all to ponder and think why we generally doesn't use an ampersand sign in case we are reading a string character, like string of characters or a character array. Now let us see how this works, how this scanf and %s actually works on a small dummy program. Now let us see, this is a very small program which means that I have this is a main function, and inside the main function I have something like I am going to declare a character array by a name called name, and the size of the array is 20. Next, whenever the control reaches the next statement, the statement says enter name. So I will get something, an output like this, right? And after that I have a scan type of command which say that the system will ask my input. Okay, that is, you have to give an input. So you write an input called Manish, right? This is a name that a user enters, and after this, right, whenever you enter Manish and you hit a return or an enter button, right, a next line option, the system will jump to the second last line of this code, which says printf your name is %s or full stop, right? So you will get something called your name is Manish, right? And this main function will return after printing this statement, right? So this is how your name is printed, and you read a string from that terminal, right, using a %s or a format specifier, right? Now let's try to read another name, right? But in this time the name will have spaces in it. You have a white space in it, right? I hope you understand what is white space. Even if you don't understand what is white space, there's no problem. We can just look into this next coming up program and we can understand what is white space. So if I write another name as Muhammad Akram, right, MOSD and AKRAM, Muhammad Akram, you saw that there are two words now. One is called Muhammad and one is called Akram, right? And between these two names, okay, the first name and the second name or middle name or the last name, I have a space, right? This is sometimes referred as white space. Okay. Now when I hit enter, there is something absurd going to happen, right? When I hit enter, I only get the first name. So I get your name is Muhammad, right? And a full stop. Okay. So this is the problem with %s. When you try to enter a string which has a white space, there is a problem. The problem with the scanf function is that it terminates its input on the first white space it finds. Okay, whenever your scanf finds the first white space, right, it terminates and returns, right? Even if your string has multiple name, my name is Syed Usman Ahmed. When I enter this name, my only name, the first name prints, right? And the last two part, the middle and the last name will never be printed if I follow this approach when I read a string with and try to print this with the help of a format specifier %s. Now white space includes blanks, tabs, new lines. I have like you have a blank, you can use a tab or you can have a new line. Or in all these cases, you will get like a different answer what you are expecting. Now there should be some way wherein you can remove this problem and you come up with a solution, right? This we are going to see in the next slide, right? To overcome this issue of reading a complete string with white spaces, we can use an intrinsic function called getChar. So getChar is a intrinsic function of C. We can make use of this function. What this function does? This function can be used to read a single character from the terminal, right? If I have a multiple characters enter simultaneously, this function reads each and every character one by one, right? So with the help of a loop, now the information, the knowledge of your loops come into picture now. Till now we are not discussed loops, right? How loops are going to be a part of this string class, but with the help of a loop we can use this function. Which function? GetChar function, repeatedly to read successive from the input successive times, right, from the input and place them into a character array. Now I read one character, I place into array. I read the second character, I put into the character array. I read the third character and I put into the third location of the character array. In this way I can read the complete array. The terminating condition in this case is a new line. That means at the end of your input, whenever you hit a new line means you hit an enter button, right? Once it encounter, we terminate the string with a null character. Now at that point we will push this null character into the end of the string. That means we complete the string now and the string has a null character, right? So this is the way you can overcome the problem of white spaces that we discussed in the previous slide. Now with the help of a small dummy problem, we will understand this workflow as well. This is a program in which it starts with declaring an array with the name of size 20, and now I can see I have a character type variable as well, which is name is ch. Ch stands for character. So what this ch will hold? It holds the individual character, right? And in the second line it says that I declared I is equal to 0. This I, because I am using a while loop, so I must have an iterative variable which helps me to iterate throughout the loop. So I have I is equal to 0. Now let's begin with this program. This thing is declaring a character array name and a character variable ch. Second, this is here I is the loop variable. This is the main part of your program where the complete logic is. So our description is here. In this while loop, we check the terminating condition, that is the character is a new line or not. If yes, we exit the loop and and we come out of this loop, right? This is the second part, right? If this is not true, we will go inside this loop, right? This is the third. We go inside the loop and read a single character, right, using getChar. Then we will move the character into this name character array, right? So this is number 4, and then we will increment this loop. This is 5, right? So we will keep on doing this 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 again and again till we reach the end of this array and we find that you entered you hit the enter button. Once you hit, it will come out of this loop, and at the end of that particular string I add \0. This is the null character, and then I print that particular array, the name of whatever name you have entered. Okay, this is how you read with the help of a while loop and a getCharacter intrinsic function. So let's start and see how things actually work. So this thing declares an 20 size character array by the name, right, and have a character variable. So this I is equal to 0 initializes the first location of that particular. It is there to push the variable, the character, into this first location. So I highlighted this with a yellow. Now it enters a name. This is my name, Syed Usman. So it has two parts with a white space, right? When it reaches ch is equal to a new line, no, there is a name, the character code S, because I have never hit a enter till this point. So what is happening? It will go inside, it will take the first character, it will move this character to the first location. Now the location will be incremented. It will come back, it will say, okay, the second character is A. So it will go and move it again to the next location, increment the value to next level. It will again go, take the third character. It will keep on doing it until you get all the characters, right? SAYYED space USMAN. Okay, you get all the characters now. Now at this point I hit an enter, right? After USMAN there is a cursor, and a cursor stands for hit and enter. Whenever I hit and enter, the control will come out of this particular while loop, and now the value of I will be populated with a null character, right? And after this there is an option for printing that particular name. So the thing will be, with the print will be Syed Usman, right? In this case I do not lose the second part of my name, right? But if I have done the same thing with simple %h specifier without this while loop and getChar option, I should have got only Syed printed. Okay, so hope this particular thing is clear, right? How do you read with the help of %s, and how you read with the help of like while loop with some intrinsic function called getChar and format specifier %s. Okay. Now for those who can remember a regular expression easily, so there is another option which is easiest one, but we as a faculty member and you should not use it like on a very every occasion. So you can do all this with a single line of code as well, right? C supports a format specification known as edit set conversion code, right? This is special conversion code, right, that can be used to read a line containing a variety of characters including white spaces. So with the help of this edit set conversion code, that is %, and within the angular bracket you have specifying something, right? So with the help of this you can easily print any string with any number of characters between whatever you specify, right? So between this angular bracket you write a regular expression. Now what is regular expression is beyond the scope. So that's why I'm telling you not to opt this option every time but you can just try it out and see whether this is working as per your need or not. So how we do it? So we in the scanf function what we write is percentage angular bracket, I have a not and I have n \n. So what does this mean? It means that read until a new line character. It is same as cs not equal to new line, right? So this is the same function, but what it's doing is it will keep on taking the characters. It doesn't require a get character type of intransitive function. The system says scan till the user enters a hit and hit a enter button, right? So it will keep on reading. So suppose you entered New Delhi, right? And then you hit enter, and with the help of a percentage s you want to print that name, the system will print New Delhi, right? So all this particular like while loop condition is then summarized into one scanf now. So if we use this, it will give the same outputs as your last code with while loop and get char. You can do that, but we suggest to read character by character because it will be helpful in the long run. You can do multiple other processing with the help of that while loop and get character, but you can do only this specific thing with the help of this edit set conversion code. Okay, so practice more on this while loop and get char type of functionality. The next thing is there is something called ASCII set. Okay, numeric value for a character. So what type of things we can do with this? Whenever a character constant or a character variable is used in an expression, whenever I use any character, right, it is automatically converted into integer value by the system. The system understands only the integer value, right? So the system will automatically convert this character or a character constant into a numeric value. Let's say the system uses ASCII data set and we write the following code: x is equal to a character, right? And we print this with a %d specifier, right? %d is a numeric specifier. I want to print this x is equal to a, the value of x, that is a, with the help of a %d specifier. The system will display the number 97, that is the ASCII value of an small a, right, on the screen. So the value of a is now printed. Instead of printing a, it's printing 97. So you converted the character value into a numeric value. Fine. In ASCII's character set, the decimal numbers 65 to 90 represents uppercase alphabets and 97 to 112 represents the lowercase alphabets, right? So you can use this character codes in many ways. Okay, so you when you want to convert a lowercase string from lowercase to uppercase or from uppercase to a lowercase, or you want to convert it in a camel case, so you can use this particular type of ASCII value. Hope that this is clear, and in case you have any problem you can just put your queries once the faculty announce the query time. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.